Hello children, welcome back to our science session. Today in this session, let's start our new chapter, chapter 15, some natural phenomena. If we tell what is natural phenomena, a natural phenomena is anything that occurs on its own in nature, that is without any kind of human intervention. For example, if you take a weather of a place, fog, storms, winds, tides, volcanic eruptions, cyclones, etc., all you can categorize as natural phenomena. If you take various natural phenomena, among this, some natural phenomena can be destructive, it is harmful, such as, for example, if you take cyclone, thunderstorm, lightning, earthquake, etc., these natural phenomena can be very destructive. But if you see, there are various ways with which we can protect ourselves or prepare ourselves from these natural disasters. And among this natural phenomena, in standard 7, already we have learned about winds, storms, and cyclones. And we learned that cyclones can cause a lot of damage to human life as well as property. And we have learned that how do we protect ourselves from this destructive phenomena to a certain extent. And in this chapter, we shall discuss two other destructive natural phenomena like lightning and earthquakes. So in this chapter, we will be learning about destructive natural phenomena, lightning and earthquakes. And we shall also discuss various steps that we can take to minimize destruction caused by these natural phenomena. If you see here, you can see various natural phenomena, pictures of various natural phenomena like drought, that is very dry, without rain, it leads to drought, isn't it? Drought, earthquake, extreme heat is one natural phenomena, flood, hurricanes, landslide, space weather, thunderstorm and lightning, tsunamis, volcanoes, wildfires, that is forest fire, winter storm, or which is, extreme cold condition, are all different examples of natural phenomena. And let's start with the destructive natural phenomena, lightning. And before we learn lightning, we can have see similar to lightning in our day-to-day life. For example, we may have seen sparks on an electric pole. When wire becomes loose, we can see some sparks coming out from the electric pole. And this this phenomenon, sparks come out from electric pole will be quite common when wind blows heavily and if it shaking the wire. And we sometimes we might also have seen sparks when a plug is loose in its socket, or when a switch is on and if you put a plug in a socket, we can see some sparks coming out. This lightning is also an electric spark, but it is on a huge scale. So about lightning, if you see, in ancient times, people did not understand what causes these sparks or lightning. So they were very afraid of lightning, and they thought that this lightning is due to the wrath of God. God was visiting them. But now, of course, we understand that lightning is caused by some accumulation of charges in the clouds. So we need not be afraid of lightning, but we have to take precautions and protect ourselves from the deadly sparks, that is lightning. So if you see that the story of lightning, what the spark that the Greeks knew about. So the Greeks were already aware of the electric charges from 600 BC. They knew that when amber, what is amber? Amber is a type of resin, or what you call that, a synthetic polymer. And when amber and a fur, when they are rubbed together, amber can attract light objects like hair. Similarly, when woolen clothes or polyester clothes, when we wear, we can also see that it attracts hair, and even we can produce little spark, or you can hear that crackling sound when we remove these clothes from our body. Why this happen? This is because of electric charges. So Benjamin Franklin was an American scientist in 1752 discovered, and also he proved that lightning and spark produced from these clothes are also all the same things. That is, he compared lightning with the spark produced from this woolen cloths or any polyester clothes. When you remove from our body, we can have that crackling sound that that is similar to that of lightning. But it took 2000 years to for this realization to occur. We may wonder why they took so many years to realize this similarity. Scientific discoveries or result of hard work by many people. It is not so easy. We can find out, discovered anything immediately. So scientific discoveries are result of hard work by many people. It can sometimes take a very, very long time. Now, we shall now study about some properties of electric charges. And also we shall see how they are related to the lightning in the sky. For this, to compare this electric charges and lightning in the sky, let's perform some activities so that we can understand the nature of electric charges. For example, we have already know that when we rub a plastic scale on our dry hair, and after rubbing the scale with our dry hair, and if you can keep it near the rubbed plastic scale near the pieces of paper, we can see that that rubbed scale, plastic scale, can attract very small pieces of paper. So why this is happening? Because of due to electric charges. So what are electric charges? We know that every atom, it consists of subatomic particles like protons, electrons, and neutrons. And if you see electrons are negatively charged particles, and protons, they are positively charged particles, and neutron, they are either positive nor negative. They are neutral in charge. So when we tell that object, when it is electrically neutral, it means the object is that atom is having equal balanced proportion of protons and electrons. That is, it has equal number of positive and negative charges. Suppose if we tell an object is called a charged one. Charged means either it will be positively charged or negatively charged. If you tell when it is charged, suppose if it is positively charged, means more number of protons than electrons. If it is negatively charged, means the atom has more number of electrons than protons. So we can tell an object, if it is a charged object, means there is an imbalance of electrons and protons in it. If it is electrically neutral, means it has equal number of protons and electrons. If it is charged, means it has imbalance. It is not equal number of electrons and protons in it. Now we can see that we can create this electric charges by rubbing. That is, when we rub two objects with each other, they get charged. Why do they get charged? Due to transfer of electrons between them. Here that only electrons will transfer from one object to another object. For example, if we rub a rubber balloon with animal fur, the balloon, we know that it is made up of rubber. Isn't it? It attracts more electron from the animal fur. If it attracts more electron from the animal fur, the rubber balloon will be more negatively charged. And animal fur, if it loses electron, then it becomes more positively charged. Isn't it? So this results in the rubber having excess of electrons. That is, it will have more number of negatively charged particles. But if you compare that fur, if it loses some electrons, so it is having short of electrons compared with its protons. That is, less number of electrons with protons. It becomes imbalanced. So the fur becomes positively charged. The same way, when a plastic refill, when it is the pen refill, plastic refill, when it is rubbed with polythene, it also acquires some electric charges. Similarly, when a plastic comb is rubbed with dry hair, it acquires some electric charge. So these objects are called as charged object. In the process of charging, that is the refill, the plastic comb, the polythene and hair all get charged. Either it will be negatively charged or positively charged. So if you see here how this type of charges and their interaction by various activities. If you first activity, that is activity A, if you take it, we take two balloons and inflate it. Means blow the air in it, inflated balloons, and hang them in such a way that they do not touch with each other. Now what you have to do is rub the balloons, both the balloons, with woolen cloth and release them. If both the balloons are rubbed with woolen cloth, then what happens? Both will acquire the same type of charges, isn't it? And what do you observe? See here in the next picture, what do you observe? Both the balloons, they repel each other because similar charges, like charges, they repel each other. Now, if let's repeat that activity with various other material, like if you take that used pen refills, rub one refill with polythene and place it in carefully in a glass tumbler. You use this glass tumbler as a stand. Now, one refill with polythene and rub the other refill also with polythene. Now, bring it close to that charged refill. Now, be careful not to touch the charged end by your hand. Now, what can you see? Do they attract each other or repel each other? As both the refills are rubbed with polythene, both will be acquired similar charges, like charges, they repel each other. So from this activity, we understood that like charges repel each other. And because in these activities, we have brought close together both the charged objects that were made up of, that were charged with similar material, same material. And now, for example, what happens when two charged objects made up of different materials are brought close to each other? Now, let's see. First, you rub a refill with a polythene and place it gently in a glass tumbler, as we seen before this previous activity. Now, next one, if you have to take an inflated balloon and if you place it near the refill, what can you observe? That is, one with these both are charged with different material. That is, they acquire different charges. We can see that both refill and balloon, they attract each other. So from this, we understood that unlike charges attract each other. So from these activities, what did we understand? A charged balloon repelled a charged balloon because both are made up of similar material. And a charged refill repelled a charged refill. It is both are same material, but a charged balloon, it attracted a charged refill as they are made up of different material. They may acquire different charges. So unlike charges attract each other. Now, so can we say then there are two kind of charges? Can we also say that the charges of the same kind repel each other while the charges of different kind attract each other? Yes. So in a conventionally, we can call that the charge acquired by a glass rod when it is rubbed with silk. That is, if you rub a glass rod with a silk cloth, the glass rod become positively charged. Then it is understood that if glass rod become positively charged, then the silk cloth become negatively charged. So this electric charges generated by rubbing, they remain static. That is, they do not move by themselves. So when the electric charges, when they remain static in one place, then we call that as static electricity. Usually we tell, when do we tell that electric current? That is when the negatively charged particles, that is the electrons, when they tend to move, then we call that as electric current, isn't it? And if you have been reading about this electric current since class 6, that is from electric current, where and all did you study that is the current in a circuit, electric circuit, which makes the bulb glow, or the current that makes the wire hot? Why do this? What is that current? It is nothing but the motion of electric charges. So if you tell, if the electric charges generated by rubbing, they do not move, they remain static in one place, then we call that as it is a static electricity. When the charges move, then we call that as an electric current. So children, till now we have learnt about some objects can be charged by rubbing with other objects. There are two kinds of charges, namely positive charge and negative charge. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract each other. The electrical charges produced by rubbing, they remain static, they do not move. So we call that as static electric charges. When the charges tend to move, then we call that as electric current.